Hey guys, let's catch up. Grab a drink, get cozy. It is life catch up time. You may have found me from my previous video about building my dream life. This is my first update and catch up video. Today I want to talk a little about where I am in relation to some of the goals that I set, how I'm gonna readjust my mindset or plan moving forward, and then share a little bit of the lessons in hopes that it will help you as well. I want to share a dream that I had. I was in a condo with my friends and some of my old coworkers and some family, and I was trying to leave. Every time I went down the elevator into the parking garage, I realized I'd forgotten something. I was so frustrated. I was kind of rushing to get somewhere, but I don't know exactly where, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs one final time, grab myself, and get the hell out of here. I went up, found my things, said goodbye, got back in the elevator to go down for the final time. I pressed the parking garage button, but instead of going down to the parking level that my car was on, it went down what felt like maybe 1 or 2 floors. And the number was a super random high number. The door opens and it's completely dark outside, frozen in fear. I was waiting for the door to close, but nothing was happening. And I knew that I had to go out and venture out into the darkness. And then that's when I woke up. So I think the key is this feeling of frustration, not wanting to forget anything and working against time. I think that sums up the challenges of what I've been working through over the past 3 months pretty well. Of course, there's also been all the joys of the past 3 months. It's finally beautiful here in Toronto. I also went on a bit of a vacation with my partner to Kelowna and Revelstoke. I have my vlogs up on that. If you haven't seen them, go check it out. I want to talk about the reality of becoming. I think in my first video, I came in really hot and I was just feeling really excited about things and inspired. And definitely along the process, some of that spark, you have to rediscover it. You really have to reconnect with it. In my last video, I talked about career first, but this time I want to talk about it last. Relationship and health, I kind of like skimmed over. It really is, I'm realizing, the foundation of everything else that we do. If those things are imbalanced, at least for me, it makes it really hard to make progress in all of those other areas. The ones that I mentioned in the previous video were like running and strength, having a primarily plant-based diet, and spending more time outdoors. Running, I've made some good progress with running. 2 times a week has been pretty consistent. Strength, a little bit less. There are 2 major things that I want to bring up about health here, which are routine and consumption. So when it comes to routine, over the past 3 months, I've kind of gone through a few phases. At the beginning, I kind of created this wild morning routine where I tried to do yoga, morning pages, meditate, go on an outdoor walk, where I realized that it was just getting really clunky and like unrealistic. An overarching theme that's going to come up again later in this video is structure without rigidity. This has been a major lesson. I can tend to be a little bit rigid. I'll discover a new idea. I want to be so regular with it to the point where I'm trying to serve this routine rather than the routine serving myself, if you know what I mean. It's great to try new things, bring new helpful and healthy routines into your life, but like, don't overdo it. So what I'm doing now is that I'm really taking into account first and foremost, like where I am in my cycle. I notice so much how my energy fluctuates throughout the month. I want to start structuring my days and my month and my work around the cycle as well. Kind of finding your own flow and creating a type of structure and discipline without rigidity. Another thing is like mental consumption. Our mental state is so important, especially when you're trying to do creative work. I think we don't talk enough about the value of silence and boredom. I can very easily get in a place where like literally everything I do is either like I'm trying to learn something new and I pick up like a new nonfiction book. Whenever I go cook dinner or like go to the grocery store, I put on a podcast to learn about this other topic. It's like there's a time and place for that. It's not good for your creativity and for your mind to be constantly in that space. And I think that's been one of the challenges of my journey in freelancing so far. And working on my own creative business projects is that you have to be strict about knowing when to turn off your brain. Like, it sounds great, right? I'm always learning something. I'm always taking something new in. I'm always improving, but I've learned that that is not how change actually works. We have to be really cautious about what we are taking in as creatives, because there are so many ways to get to the same destination. Secondly, embrace moments of boredom, of the mundane, of grounding. I recently posted my second video from my BC trip. These vlogs take a long time to make, so I was spending a lot of hours in front of the laptop. And once I posted that video, I just decided like the next day to take a half day, fully no screens. And it was actually really hard. I had to catch myself a couple of times from like putting on a podcast, from putting on a YouTube video while I'm doing something else, and like multitasking. It was like a challenge to just be here as opposed to letting my mind spin on its axis constantly. Just being with the soft sounds of folding my clothes, the motions of like organizing, categorizing them, instead of just being on autopilot. Like, it's so mundane, just like grounding myself. I was further reminded about how much the state of my surroundings influences my mind. I have like a room in my house that I've wanted to kind of make into a more functional space for a long time, because for a long time it was just like a junk room. We would throw everything in there. It was like storage. I've kind of updated it into being a little creative space for myself, a place where I can do yoga, a place where I can work at night, have a little bit of separation from like just this one living room area that we have. That's been really lovely. Relationship, I'd split into relationship with myself and my community. I think I've done really well in terms of the relationship with my existing community, my friends and family, but it's been challenging to find a new community of creatives. Yeah, as an introvert, it takes like a lot of activation energy for me to put myself out there, but every time I do, like, I never ever regret it. It's a lot of fun. Just getting out of that comfort zone more, going to more creative events is something that I'm going to do more of in the next 3 months. I've made a couple creator friends. It's been really rewarding to just talk about the journey, and I'm still in the process of kind of reaching out to more people. The path of making a change later in life can be kind of isolating in ways. In my physical world, like, I don't really have those connections and those friendships of other people doing the same thing. So still working on it, but also want to acknowledge the win. I'm a Virgo rising. I can be quite critical on myself and not acknowledge the wins and just like kind of focus on where things could be better. I also have an intention to learn about community building. One of my library holds right now is a book by Priya Parker about gathering and community. I also have an upcoming workshop. It's a free workshop for anyone who's interested. I will also link it through Generalist World about building communities. Relationship with myself. What I put here was yoga and learning. Yoga, I've been wanting to kind of like revamp my own practice, and I feel like I've done that. I have been kind of checking out new studios in the city, and one of the studios that I had a membership at, I'm now on their sub list. So I will be teaching classes there periodically. And with learning, I started an online design course by Baseline. It's a free online design bootcamp. I gotta say, the quality of the content is really great. The reason why I'm taking this is because I'm a pharmacist by my background. I haven't really done formal education on design. A couple of years ago, I took a painting class at the Art Gallery of Ontario, and that was really fun, but it was more just like the foundation of acrylic painting. Design principles, I think, are another thing. I think that would be really helpful for me in both making videos, building an online business. I think it's really important to be able to understand some basics of design. I would say the most important thing about my relationship with myself that I've been working on is having fun, enjoying myself. I think connecting with your joy is essential to creative growth and recovery. It's like over the past 3 months, I really learned the lesson that I can't just fuel myself with constantly learning. I will always love my nonfiction books, but that can't be like the only thing you're consuming, because you have to like draw inspiration from the world. And although like it's great to feel seen and heard in a book and like learn new things, it really cannot be the only thing that you're consuming. And that was for me for a while. I actually started my first fiction book in years. It's called The Book of Longings, and it's been so incredible so far. Some of the major themes are the oppression of women, political unrest, and like this longing for self-expression. It's kind of funny because it's like, hi, hello. How much more relevant could it be? Okay, I think that's it for relationship. So let's talk about career. I have like a whole list of things here. I know in my previous video I said this. I just don't feel ready. I'm not ready to pick one thing. I have so many ideas that I want to experiment and bring into reality. And I think what I'm realizing now is that I may never be ready. You can do it all, but just not all at once. That's what I'm coming to realize. I may never feel ready to pick one thing, but now from doing a little bit of everything, I see why people give that advice. It's very easy to spread yourself too thin. It's not hard to do one of everything, to do one corporate yoga class, to do one, art project, like whatever it is. But there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes to feed into those projects, whether that be your own self-study and improving your skill, to like networking and showing up in the proper places to actually meet people who are in the same space and potential clients. All the while, I still have new ideas brewing. So I think within the next 3 months, I'm going to start focusing my energy a bit more on certain projects and easing off on others. I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit more about how I'm actually changing in the career area of things. There's been a bit of pressure and this feeling like fighting against time. And I realized that part of it is that I'm not really adequately managing my time well enough. Although every day I am trying to focus my work and my research, I need more of like a long-term structure to make sure that in the overall timeline of building my business, that I'm doing everything that needs to be done. Not just a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there. It's wearing a lot of hats, and you have to be organized about like when you're wearing each hat. So for me, what this is going to actually look like is a business plan. Just in my head, because this was like a creative thing and I was still trying different things out. I didn't think I needed one, because I was doing multiple things. But now I am going to start creating a business plan. Part of it is like my own personal creative practice. So I have a lot of these supplemental things that I've been doing, right? Like morning pages, like just trying to stay inspired by consuming content intentionally and like allowing for silence and boredom as well. But like, what about the actual practical thing of just painting regularly, like every day? I've been painting, but it hasn't been a really regular routine. It's kind of been like here and there, a couple times a week. And I'm realizing I need more structure to make sure that I am progressing in terms of building my own style, a potential portfolio, which are all very important things. The update in this area too that is guiding all of this is I want to focus my attention more on my art, whether that be murals or like commissions or illustrations. Like this is one general area that I want to focus more of my energy on for the upcoming 3 months. In addition, business plan is one. Number 2, document everything. In this period, I'm still having new ideas and potential pathways opened up to me as things I'm interested in exploring. And I've been spending a lot of time researching these things and whether or not it's feasible without actually documenting a lot of it. And that has in its own way become a bit of a time sink, because I come out of a week and there are these unaccounted periods of time where I'm technically doing work and research in service to my future career, but it's not documented for, and it's hard for me to speak to. And I'm going to change this by documenting literally every hour of my day. Digital in the past hasn't worked great for me, but I might try Notion calendars. I might also just go back to paper. I'm just going to give it a try and find something where I can really document new areas I'm researching, what I'm writing, what I'm working on, any research, whatever. Just by having like a longer term business plan and by documenting and scheduling more things, like having maybe a 30-minute block every Sunday to just plan out my upcoming week, I think it's going to take out so much of the think work of waking up and being like, what am I focusing on today? What hat am I wearing today? It's not a good use of energy. Give yourself the gift of structure. That's, I think, it for yoga and art. Pharmacy, just making sure that everything is in alignment for me to start that again. So I've gotten my CPR recertification done. Part of me that's uncertain about it, but I think it's actually going to be really good. I worked really hard to get my pharmacy degree and license, and I want to continue helping people in that way and connecting with people. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into it, and I think it'll add a really nice security and stability back into my life. As for writing, I'm so excited to have a regular column with a publication. I'm writing a monthly article for them. It's a publication for pharmacists, and it's something I want to explore a little bit more of. Again, just playing around with different forms of self-expression and different forms of creativity. And YouTube, I was aiming for like once a week. That's still something I want to work towards. Anytime you start something new, it's going to take time to amp up. So I think a challenge I've had with YouTube is like, there's been a lot of videos that I've recorded and just like halfway through editing, I've scrapped. Again, that perfectionism showing up. I'm working on overcoming that. Moving forward, I'm going to try to show up here more authentically. It's not like a button that you just like flick on and it's like, hey, I'm like authentic now fully. It takes practice to show up authentically. I'm working on it. I think an overarching message is that change is never easy. At the beginning, things can be really exciting and sparkly and new. But as you go on and take that path, a lot of questions come up. And it's not always possible to get full clarity before moving forward. I think I'm in a period now where I've got really up close and personal with that uncertainty, and I'm ready to take action despite not knowing exactly where I'm going to end up. It's very important to cultivate your connection to your inner voice. And for me, again and again, I have returned in the past to like yoga and meditation, these sort of things. But I'm also realizing that like it doesn't have to be kind of like a formal practice like that. It can just be being present in your life. That can be enough to ground yourself, to learn about yourself, to continue along on the journey. To be able to ponder the question of self-expression and where I want to go in life is an incredible gift that so many people on our planet right now don't have the privilege of. And that's not to like guilt ourselves or say that this is frivolous or we should stop doing it. It's to cultivate that gratitude, because that's where the most beautiful things are born. I know that a lot of us are going through something similar right now. There is so much change and uprooting and uncertainty that is out in the world right now. And yeah, all the more reason to root into gratitude, to appreciate the small things of the everyday and deepen our connection with ourselves. I hope you found something helpful in this video. If you're on a similar journey of becoming, I'm so curious to hear what you've been learning so far in 2025. What lessons have revealed themselves to you? Are you currently working through? Leave it in the comments below. I'm so grateful that you're here, and let's talk again really soon. Bye.